In 1977, NASA put music on a record and launched it into space. Not as a signal, not as a message, as a gift. They included Bach, Beethoven, a Senegalese percussion piece, a Navajo night chant, a Georgian choir, and Chuck Berry. The assumption behind all of it was remarkable, that whatever finds this record will understand what music is, that somewhere out there something exists that can hear a pattern of sound and feel something. Nobody questioned that assumption. Maybe they should have. Because the question of whether aliens would have music is not really a question about aliens. It is a question about what music actually is. And the answer goes somewhere most people never think to look. Start with what we know. Every human civilization ever discovered has had music. Not every civilization had writing. Not every civilization had agriculture. Not every civilization had the wheel. But every single one had music. Cultures separated by oceans for thousands of years independently invented the same scales, the same rhythms, the same impulse to take sound and shape it into something that carries emotion. This is not coincidence. This is a pattern worth taking seriously. Something about music is not cultural. Something about music is biological. And once you understand what that something is, the alien question opens up in a way you probably did not expect. Start with physics. Sound is a vibration. When something moves, it disturbs the medium around it. Those disturbances have frequencies, and certain frequencies have a mathematical relationship to each other that no human being invented. The octave, the most fundamental interval in music, is a ratio of exactly 2:1. Double the frequency of any note and you get the same note 1 octave higher. This is not a human idea. It is a property of the physical universe. The fifth, the interval that gives music its tension and resolution, is a ratio of 3:2. Not invented. Discovered. These ratios exist regardless of whether any ear ever hears them. They existed before Earth formed. They will exist after the sun is gone. If something out there can perceive vibration, and in a universe made almost entirely of matter in motion, something almost certainly it will encounter these same ratios. It will find the same mathematical relationships waiting. The universe does not change its rules depending on who is listening. Now, take that further. Music is not actually sound. This is the part that changes the whole picture. In 2003, a percussionist named Evelyn Glennie gave a talk that stopped a lot of scientists in their tracks. She has been profoundly deaf since the age of 12. She is also one of the most celebrated musicians alive. She does not hear music the way you do. She feels it, through her feet on the stage floor, through her hands pressed against the drum skin, through subtle changes in air pressure against her face. Her argument was quiet and devastating. Sound is just the carrier. Music is what happens after the carrier arrives. It happens in the nervous system. It happens in whatever part of a brain processes pattern, anticipation, and the gap between what you expected and what you got. The ear is one way in. It is not the only way. That gap between expectation and reality is not unique to music. It is the core mechanism of intelligence itself. To be intelligent is to build a model of the world. To build a model is to generate predictions about what comes next. To generate predictions is to register the difference between what you anticipated and what actually happened. Music is what emerges when you apply that mechanism to sound, or vibration, or light, or any repeating pattern in a physical environment. Any mind that models the world can experience the distance between prediction and outcome. Music is one particular astonishing way of playing inside that distance. This is why a chord that resolves feels like an answer. Your brain predicted something. The music confirmed it. This is why a chord that does not resolve keeps you suspended. Your brain predicted something. The music refused. You are not reacting to frequencies. You are reacting to the relationship between what you anticipated and what arrived. Now take that mechanism and remove sound from the equation entirely. Give it to something that has no ears. Something that navigates the world through electromagnetic fields, or chemical signals, or pressure variations in a medium we do not have a word for. Does it still experience something that functions the way music functions? The logic says yes. Not music as you know it. Not melody or harmony or rhythm as you experience those things. But the core of what music does to you, the experience of pattern, prediction, and the satisfaction or violation of that prediction that does not need ears. It needs a mind that models the world. There's a man named Neil Harbisson who was born completely colorblind. He had an antenna implanted in his skull that translates light frequencies into vibrations transmitted directly through bone to his inner ear. He can now perceive color as sound. And what he describes is revealing. Red arrives as an F note. Blue lands somewhere between D and E. He developed preferences. Favorite colors the way you have favorite songs. Not because the frequencies are objectively superior, because his mind built a relationship with them over time. He composed music from color. He listened to paintings. He experienced a sunset as a chord. The technology is interesting. What it reveals is more interesting. Music is not a fixed thing that exists in sound waves. It is a relationship that a mind builds with whatever patterns it encounters. A different mind would build different relationships with different patterns in a different medium. And some of those relationships would feel like something, would feel to that mind the way a song feels to you on the right night in the right moment. The uncomfortable part comes next. When the Voyager record was assembled, the people who chose the music made their selections based on what felt universal to them. Bach felt universal. A Navajo night chant felt universal. Chuck Berry felt universal. Those choices were made by beings with two ears, bilateral symmetry, a nervous system shaped by a specific kind of gravity, breathing a specific mixture of gases, measuring time at a human scale. An intelligence that evolved in the crushing dark of a deep ocean, or distributed across the surface of a planet as a network of chemical signals, or flickering through the magnetic field of a dying star. That intelligence would carry different relationships to pattern, its own version of tension, its own equivalent of the moment a melody lands where it was always going. If it found the Voyager record, it might study it. It might find the mathematics worth examining. But the feeling you get when a song you love starts playing, that particular recognition, that pressure in the chest that certain combinations of notes produce for no reason you can name, a mind shaped by a completely different universe of experience would not feel that. Could not feel that. That specific emotional response belongs to a specific kind of nervous system, living a specific kind of life. On this specific planet, so the answer splits into two. Would aliens have music? Almost certainly. Any intelligence embedded in a patterned universe will develop some relationship with pattern, will find something that functions as tension and resolution, will experience the gap between prediction and outcome in a way that produces feeling. The mathematics guarantees it. Would they have our music? No, not the way you have it. Not the ache that a minor chord produces, not the recognition of a melody you have not heard in years, not the specific, inexplicable warmth of a song that belongs to a particular moment in your life. That is not universal. That is personal. Assembled over a lifetime, in a body, on a planet, under a specific sky. The Voyager record is still moving. Right now. At roughly 35,000 miles per hour. It will take 40,000 years to reach the nearest star system. Long after everyone who touched it is gone. Long after every song on it has been forgotten by everyone who ever loved those songs. The music travels on. And the loneliest question in science is a simple one. If something finds it, will it feel anything at all?